Okay. So yes, I'm gonna go to the web now. Can everyone see the WashU Libraries webpage?
Yeah.
Great.
You might want to do introductions, Jenny.
Oh yeah, I almost forget to introduce us.
Gosh.
So I'm Jenny Akins. I am the subject librarian for Art and Architecture. And normally I'm in the Kranzberg Art and Architecture Library on campus, but now that the libraries are closed, I'm working virtually mostly. And my role is just to help, in general, people find like research on art and architecture, but also find images. And then Andrea, if you want to.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrea Degner. I work in special collections for Washington University Libraries. I'm one of the archivists there, so I'm in charge of the visual collections, and I'm going to try and help you get through this piece about finding images in our special collections and also kind of nationally in the United States, because there's a lot of rich image resources within the special collections.
Great. So this is the new WashU website. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to use it yet, but we hope that it's more intuitive than the last one. As you can see, when you go to it, we have this big search box now, and there are options, just drop down. So hopefully it will be somewhat intuitive for you to use, and then we have frequently used resources here at the bottom.
I tried the other day and or yesterday, and the databases, the magazines. First, I mean the scholarly journals. First, I thought, oh, where are they? I had to go 2-3 times, and then it's like, okay, they are there.
Were you able to figure it out? That
I was. It wasn't very intuitive though. I was used to seeing it over there, but anyway, no, I figured it out.
Yeah, the mid-semester switch was a little thing. So yeah, so you can definitely search a lot of our resources from here. Like the database list, you would pull up the name of the database, like JSTOR, you would type in, this will take you to a link to open it. A lot of what we're going to show you today is based on a research guide that we created specifically for finding images. And so I'm going to show you how to navigate to that. So if you click on research guides and then type in finding images, you should be able to pull it up. So it's this first option here, if you click on finding images. And I'll also try to drop this in the chat. Have any of you used research guides before?
No, first time.
Yeah, sometimes, for example, I've gone to the one in psychology and see what the professors teach or the different lists, yeah.
So that's great. Like because we have over 1,000 like databases we subscribe to, we know it can be overwhelming. So we do, I'll just show you this list. We do have, whoops, it's not working. We do have an alphabetical list by subject area of these research guides, and it can be a really great way to start to familiarize yourself with the resources. And then we also have them by type, like topical guides, like what we're going to use today. So this is the Finding Images research guide. Like all of them, they're arranged by these pages or tabs on the side. So what we want to start off with first is looking at image resources. And I would say like our most popular ones are listed here under multidisciplinary. A lot of our databases are by subject area. But I did want to start off with looking at web resources first. And just talk a little bit about Creative Commons search and Google Images, since they are so powerful now. And I did like public domain. Sometimes you're worried about copyright, using these images in your work. In general, if it's just, if you're a student, you're turning in these images for a class project or maybe your thesis or dissertation, as long as the use of the image is tied to your scholarly argument, it's typically protected. But if you did want to find images to put on a poster, we were talking about like poster, putting teenage images on posters, or maybe put on a flyer, you would want to kind of make sure that it's in the public domain, meaning it's not protected by intellectual property rights. And that could mean the copyright has expired. So copyright is this bundle of rights that authors or artists have over their work to reproduce it, to perform it. So yeah, so maybe it's in the public domain because the copyright has expired, or their owner never renewed the copyrights, or they gave up the license. Maybe I took, a photo or made a piece of art yesterday and uploaded it on the web, and I assigned this license to make it freely available, so that, this Creative Commons license. Or copyright doesn't protect some kind of work, like if it's from the government, for example. But you can learn more by looking at this Welcome to the Public Domain by Stanford, or our own like copyright and fair use link here, which I'll talk a little bit more about. But moving on to the tools, I did want to point out this Creative Commons CC search. I don't know if anyone's used this before, but it's really handy. And it even gives you like a little way to cite the image. So let's say I'm looking for the Seagram building in New York. I am going to put my terms in quotes just to keep the two words together, make sure they don't separate. That's a technique you can use in our databases and our catalogs. If you're getting a lot of irrelevant results, I recommend doing that especially. Oh, and you have to spell things right. So here's the Seagram building, and you'll notice on the side, I can filter by license or public domain. So these are all the Creative Commons licenses. If you hover over, you can see like some of them. A lot of them are saying, you need to credit the creator. Some allow adaptations, some don't. You could filter by that, but let's say, you just find an image that you want to use. It will have the license right over here. And then what's really handy, you always want to make sure you're giving attribution, if not formally citing it with a style like Chicago. So but if you're just giving attribution, you can copy this and it will include on here the license, the Creative Commons license. So that could be a good tool. I haven't tried searching adolescents in here, but that might be useful for your project too. So let me go back. And then of course, oh yeah, any questions?
Yeah, so I wonder, so when you type the keywords here, and it will lead you to some images. So I wonder if certain images were not labeled with the keywords used, you use, can you still find them? Basically, really I was trying to ask the algorithm behind the thing, what kind of image you can really get it, because a lot of time I found I needed to switch a couple keywords to really get into the images I want.
Yeah, so you can see when you click on information, it looks like the author of the image probably assigned these tags. I'm not actually sure on the CC search who assigns these tags. So you're searching usually the name, the title of what the image was entered on, and then whatever relevant tags there might be. So yeah, you definitely want to vary your brainstorm different terms to try. Even in some of our image databases, there's not a lot of that metadata, the descriptors that you might see in a journal database or even the book catalogs. So it is a good idea to just try to think of different terms. I mean, maybe it's even a look that you're trying to get, sublime. You might try sublime and teenager, or So yeah, it's just, you definitely want to do that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think I mean, yeah, because I tried the Google image search before, and yeah, sometimes it's just like, like I really wonder like what's the tag they put over there.
Yeah, it can be tricky, especially if it's, you know, something you're trying to capture. And yeah, I'm not sure exactly like what kind of images you were looking to do, but we could try a search on that and see. Yeah, so let's look at Google Images next.
So for Google Images and for CC and for those things, do you need to enter through the guides or through the library, or you just go to Google and do the search?
You can just go to CC search or Google. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I mean, I was just going to search the Seagram building again and show you like tools for refining.
Okay.
But like if there's a search, if you have certain terms that you'd like us to try, we could try and see. Or if you want to put it in the chat, we can look at that maybe in the search time and help you brainstorm. I'm going to do Seagram building again just to show you like the difference. We'll hit search. And of course, you know, there are these filters up here that I could use to limit down my results. But there are also tools. So if you click on tools here, you can see you can filter by size, large. This typically would fit, like if you're giving a PowerPoint, one large size image would be good to use. Medium usually works if you have 2 images on a PowerPoint. Icon is just very tiny. It's supposed to like be the essence of your building or, you know, whatever search you're doing. You can limit kind of by color. Just do any color. And then type. So maybe I want like a line drawing or the GIFs, which this is pretty fun. You can see that. And then finally, you could limit by usage rights as well. I don't usually do that, but you could, because a lot of times for academic uses, you don't really have to worry about that because of fair use. The other thing that you may or may not know about, and this is true for a Google search as well, you can limit by the domain. So if I want to look at only things by .orgs, which typically museums would be ending in a .org, you could do that. So, or organizations like Society of Architectural Historians, for example. You can also do that with education, you know, universities. I could limit to the .edu.
So you put a little, you put the word site and then 3 little dots?
Site, colon, and then the domain, .org or .edu. You can .gov for government. Which might be,
so just a colon, because I see somehow I see 3 things. So
I'll try to put it in the chat too. Yeah, thank you, Andrea. So Andrea has it there. So yeah.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Site colon dot and then your domain ending. Okay. The other thing you might want to do is like a Pinterest. If you're getting a lot of Pinterest results, you can add that to remove them. So those are just like a few tips. You can also do, I'm not gonna really take the time to do this right now, but you can do reverse image searches. Like if you don't know what you're looking at, you can click on this little camera here and paste in an image URL. You can also upload from your computer. So if you don't, you know, this would be a way to get more information about an image or find more visually similar images.
Oh.
Maybe you want to find your quality images.
So what about if you are searching for like a song, like a cartoons on like newspapers or magazines? Like, how can you do that in like in Cite?
Oh, you would just put the, you just add that as part of the URL of the newspaper or magazine. I can't think of one right now. I wonder if Domus is, no, that's not the wrong URL. But if this was the URL, yeah, you could definitely try that to search within a site, a website.
What about like, let's say like, let's try like New Yorker. Like, can you do that?
Yeah, you can. You would just put the end of the URL there. Site colon. Yeah, that's a good question. I've done that before for the WashU website too, limiting just to that website in a Google search because the indexing is better on Google sometimes. So yeah, those are good questions. I'm gonna move on, but I did want to also add, like if you're looking for objects that may be in a different language, use that language in your Google search too, your Google Images search. And so we do have a few tips here for searching for images that you might want to check out later. And I wanted to point out finding images in books. So our print collection actually is probably the largest source of images that we have, believe it or not, because there are so many catalogs, produced exhibition catalogs, for example. So on this page, you can find tips for searching within the catalog. And this would work with Worldcat. Also, you're not just limited to the WashU catalog for these techniques. So definitely check that out. The word pictorial brings in photographs. And then catalog would be pulling in like museum catalogs on a particular topic or person. Exhibit, that would be like exhibition catalogs. So yeah, I would definitely check those out later. But now I'm going to turn it over to Andrea so she can show you a few of our special collections, resources, and databases.
Yeah, I'm just going to run through some starting points for you to search for images within special collections and WashU special collections, and then some locally, and then some like the Library of Congress is also a good resource. So I'm kind of going to branch out a little bit. I'm going to share my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Yes, okay.
No, I think we are still.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. There. Sorry.
Jenny, what are you doing? Just kidding. Can you see it now?
Part of it.
I can see.
Can you see it? Okay. So I just wanted to start off with the library website, which is library.wusel.edu. I know we just changed in the middle of the semester, so this might be new to you all like it's new to me. But I just wanted to point out the sub menu on the left for special collections. This is how you get directly to the special collections website. There are some good collections that you can just kind of browse around in here. There's a lot of access points to search the collections, but I mostly wanted to point out that there are these collection areas that kind of give you a rundown of the different types of materials we house in special collections. And if you click on view the collection, you can actually see some highlighted collections with images here. So if you are interested in viewing more of specific collections, you can actually click through and get a rundown of what the collection is, some samples of what's actually in the collection. And then there's often a link out to digital collections that are available to Washington University students and also outside researchers. And then if you are interested in learning more about the materials or accessing them physically, you have a contact card down here. So I just wanted to point that out. I'm not going to go through every single collection, but there's a lot of information with little snapshots of what our special collections hold here. The other thing I wanted to point out are the exhibitions that are available on the new website. This is a good, again, starting point for some research. You can just browse exhibitions of interest to you. And there are a lot of different subjects that we have published here. So I'm just again pointing this out. You have to click through, but it'll take you out into actual exhibitions with context if you're interested in that. I also want to point out Art Store. I think this is going to be relevant for a lot of people. This is just artstore.org. I'll drop that in the chat really quick. But WashU has access to institutional collections, and that also means for all participating universities. So you have access to other institutions' collections that they publish in Art Store. So if you just click into the Art Store digital library, you can search all of the collections here. But if you want to search those institutional collections, then you actually have to log in. It's really easy to create a login, so don't get deterred by that. But there's a search option. They have all these curated collections here that you can browse. You can also browse the institutional collections, so you'll see all of WashU's collections. And then if you just go back to the Art Store Digital Library, they also have different curated collections that are easy to browse through, but this is a pretty powerful search tool if you were interested in searching on a research topic that would aggregate from all institutions. Mostly these are going to be art and design collections, but they are starting to add in some text collections, but not a lot. So this is going to be mostly photographs, paintings, graphic design materials that might be of interest to a lot of people.
You also have museums like you have the National Gallery and places like that.
There are a bunch of members. I know Library of Congress is in here. There are a lot of high tier museums. So I don't know exactly the entire list, but it's easy to just browse all of the collections this way, and it'll tell you who the owner is. And you'll have access. I'll just show you one really quick. These are all high resolution images. So when you click out, there's a zoom function. So these are really great for art and art history, design, anything like that, because you can get a really good detail of the image. And I know you were interested in, there's an interesting public transportation. So there are materials of maps and architectural drawings as well. So this might be a good starting point for a lot of cross-disciplinary research. And then I wanted to move out to some local collections that are really easily accessible. This is the Missouri Historical Society. They have a lot of collections digitally available. You can see they have all of their snapshots here, but they have a lot of great digital online collections that are accessible just by quick searching, and then you can contact them if you would like a high resolution image if it's not available online. But this is a great resource for local research if anyone was interested in that type of material. And then I'm going to move out to the DPLA. I don't know if anyone's heard of the DPLA, but it's called the Digital Public Library of America, and it's aggregating special collections content from museums and libraries all across the United States within one search. And they also have a great collection of just curated content. So they have a great lineup of online exhibits that are easy to browse. But I'll just do a quick search here so you can see how it's pulling, and then it has all these great facets. So you could say I'm interested in text, image, even moving images. And then there's all these subject terms over here. So you could say I just want to see trolleys, and then it'll even limit it down further. So this is a great tool. The caveat here is you might not have access to the full res image. You might have to actually contact the home institution if you're interested in a full res image. But it does take you all the way out to, you can go all the way out to where it is housed. So you get all this great metadata, and then you can find the original source for the image. So it looks like this is coming from the digital main repository. And they do have a download option. So sometimes you just have to take a couple more steps if you wanted to get that image. So that's DPLA. There's also the Library of Congress. They have great digital collections also. Most of these are freely available. Again, they have all these great facets that you can use as well. And then you just can distill it down to specific research topics if you were interested in that. And they usually have pretty good high-res images. And if they don't, all you have to do is contact them.
I have a question. Just came out because a friend of mine is trying to publish a book on medieval food. And she was asked by the reviewers to put some images in there. And of course, these will be images of manuscripts because this is medieval times. So her question was, are these royalty free, or the library who owns the manuscript owns the image, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's always best to contact the owner of the image because you never know. Some of them are like, yeah, I'll use it, or you have to pay a fee to reproduce it.
So even the manuscript.
Yeah, it just depends on the institution.
Okay.
Sometimes this happens because it does cost to house and digitize these materials, so they're trying to recoup some of that, and it's just it's different for every institution. Okay. But yeah, so
I use them for my classes, but I have never tried to put them in a publication.
Yeah, Jenny knows this. It gets really tricky.
So is it different? The royalties are different when you put them in a book than when you put them in an article, or you always have to do your homework and ask?
Pretty much always do your homework. And if you ever contact a lawyer, they'll probably tell you the same thing. Okay. I know we have a copyright on staff and he gets a lot of these questions, and I know Jenny fields these a lot too.
Yeah, we had a faculty member in architecture ask about this week, different images. So we can't give legal advice, but we can help you think about like what the issues might be for using them in a publication.
Yeah. All right, I'm just going to go through two more collections that might be useful to you guys, and that is the Smithsonian also has a lot of digital collections and a lot of good search options for you to start your research. And these are all kind of branches off of Library of Congress, and so does the Cooper Hewitt. I know there was questions about posters and ephemera, so you can explore collections here as well. And their prints and graphic design is a great resource also. But I know we only have like 5 minutes left, so Jenny, did we want to go through some other things?
Sure. I did just want to point out, we do have on the research guide, I'll share my screen. So on this research guide, can you all see it again? We do have this copyright and fair use page. This, we'll talk about copyright again, fair use, being able to, use these in your academic work. For example, there's a code of best practices for using visual images. Here's the VRA statement on the fair use of images for teaching, research, and study, which includes reproduction and theses and dissertations online. So yeah, if you have a question about that, don't hesitate to reach out. And as Andrea mentioned, we do have our head of scholarly communication, Micah Zeller. We could get you in touch with him as well. And then sometimes I usually mention, we also have the citing images section of this guide, giving a caption versus a citation. Captions are less formal, but yeah, there's all kinds of information on there, including how for particular styles you might go about for a formal publication, citing the images. So yeah, there's, that's more about the ethical use of images. I know sometimes it can be expensive to use images, but yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. We can help support you if you do have a specific question about that. But yeah, again, if you guys, we have like 4 minutes left, but we can hang out till 1 o'clock if you have time, if you want to try some of these searches. But again, I think pretty much all of the resources Andrea just showed you as well are on here. There's DPLA, Library of Congress. Maybe we need to make sure the Missouri History Library is on there. Academic Search Complete, maybe you guys have used this to find articles. I did want to point out there is a way to limit by the images in the journal, like only get results that have images in them. If you just go down here and say, I want image quick view, and you can be very specific over here if you want. For example, you could do a search for like Berlin and trolley, and it would only give you results that have those images. Of course, this is only for articles that are indexed in Academic Search Complete, which is multidisciplinary.
Academic Search Complete, that's the name?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pulling images that are in our journal articles and magazines. But yeah, that's on the guide here. And yeah, if you guys want to take a little bit of time to try some searches, we can I can at least hang on until like 1 o'clock. But yeah, I agree with Andrea, the art store is pretty powerful. It doesn't have all of, everything in it. That's why I think you also might want to search books, even Worldcat, to find images in books that have been reproduced. But do you guys have any questions? I don't know if you can hang on to, but we also are available. Like if you have any question, after this session, I should put up here's our contact information. Yeah, we can go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I just had one question. It's sort of general, maybe not. But do you know which ones of these resources were more likely to maybe access databases that have a lot of materials that are housed in Europe? Because or is there any like do they weigh in any one way or the other, so to say, the difference?
I'm trying to think if we have a link to Europeana. I think I misspelled that. We should probably add this to the guide. Have you used this before, the Europeana?
I have, yes.
Okay. So I would say art store would be good. Let me just see. I tried this really quick. But again, yeah, I think a lot of the institutions contributing to art store are in North America. What if you're having difficulty finding specific images, I often go to Worldcat, which is it's a union catalog for books worldwide. If you go to our main page, actually, for the libraries, there's an option down here, and I usually go on the right. I don't know if you can see this. There's the first search option.
Mm-hmm.
But, you could try different search techniques here. I've never tried, research is messy, so you probably do want to try different techniques like terms. But you could try something like this, Berlin and Train 20th century. Sometimes you can find archival collections. You mainly use Worldcat for books, but if it's been published, it's typically in Worldcat. But you might want to look at archival collections here to see if something's popping up. You could add to your search, I'm going to click and pictorial for an image heavy book, but honestly, you'll have to be kind of creative in your terms. But I would probably try to find an institution that might have a collection. Like, for example, I know Northwestern University has a transportation library. When you mentioned that, I thought, oh, you might check there. But the scope, I'm not sure actually what their scope is, if it's North America or beyond. So I would probably try to find an archive, which are typically housed at universities, to see who has a lot of this. I wouldn't be surprised if it is in Berlin or in Germany. It would just take a little bit of searching to find it.
We have another just silly question, but Is there a place there in the sites where you have a guide of Boolean terms, or a place where I can just easily access the Boolean terms, like the one you just used to limit the site?
Which, I'm sorry, you asked for what? Which?
The terms, the BOLAN, Boolean, or how do you call this?
Oh, the Boolean searching.
Oh, Boolean searching. Do you have a little instruction on that?
There probably is instruction somewhere on here. Let me go to Classic Catalog. If I click on Advanced Search in Classic Catalog, we do have this help section. So, so I think, yeah, under using the catalog and research and instruction, we might link to that. Yeah, I can get back to you on that question because I think.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
Not quite sure with the new website.
Yeah, I'm afraid that once you leave us alone, it's like, okay, again, where are the magazines? Where are the journals?
Yeah.
It's gonna take a little
while.
while.
Some, like Worldcat First Search and some of our databases, if you go to Advanced Search, it kind of helps you with that because it just
tells you the
boxes.
and
It's always good to separate out your terms. You can, limit by author, title, subject, and then here are your operators. So if I wanted, like, for example, Berlin and not trolleys, like I could put like Berlin and transportation and not trolley. So it would take out everything that was a trolley, for example. So you can eliminate words, but you can also do a search like this. And once you run the search, a lot of our databases and like Worldcat, the book catalog, has limiters. So if I want, nothing juvenile, no kid books, I can limit there. I can limit by fiction, not fiction, or even format. And yeah, there are also filters here. If I want to limit, for example, by years or language, again, like almost all of our databases have those options to kind of make that refined Boolean things easier to work with.
Just I had never seen the one you showed us today for the semicolon and the.
Oh yeah.
So I thought that maybe there's a ton of them that I don't really know. I know the and the or and the little thing is there.
The search tips. Yeah, I'll have to add that to our images guide actually, because I don't think it's on that guide anywhere. We do. I think you might see that in the finding images in books, like techniques like using the asterisk
yeah.
are in there, but yeah, we'll have to add that. Are there any last questions, or do you guys have time to try some searches?
I'm gonna have to go, but thank you very much. And the most important thing is I met you guys, and now I know where to go to. Yeah.
We can't cover everything in this session, but if you have specific questions, don't hesitate to reach out. We're always happy to help and help point you in the right direction. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Sorry I was late. I had to figure out how to find the email with the, I look for all in library and all my search. And it was, so the email came with something like BibCat, something that I don't know. The heading of the email was not easily identifiable, but I found it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
And we will make sure that you guys get a copy of the recording.
Oh yeah, that'd be very useful.
Thank you.
Eventually it might be on the website somewhere.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks.